Hello, everyone. Sorry, I realized I just had on mute. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Donna Just Being Real, the only way to be. So we're going to be getting into. Okay, the volume's working. Okay, we're going to be getting into this topic, the Gabby Petito Autopsy press conference in Wyoming coroners. Okay, we're going to hear the update, the news clips. I'm going to be playing the news clips, so let's just stay in and listen to it. Like, subscribe, hit the alert button. Oh, I got Mod on deck, the Jack Real Newtown, Busy Mama, Donna, we love hugs and kisses, Monica, views and news, don't need a man. Alrighty, so I'm gonna play this now. Let me share the screen, everyone. All right, just work with me. I'm still trying to figure this crap out. All right, which one am I gonna use? Okay, should I use that one? I'll use this one. All right, share. Okay, everyone, just give me a second to figure this one. Okay.
All right. Vivian, you are able to ask your question.
Let's get it.
What's the question? I didn't hear a question.
Chris, I believe that you are muted. If you can unmute yourself.
Okay, it's John Walsh from In Pursuit with John Walsh on Discovery ID. Dr. Blue, thank you for your time. I think everybody in the world believes that Brian Laundrie killed Gabby. With your extensive work on the body, are you sure that it's Brian Laundrie? And will the FBI issue a nationwide homicide warrant now that they know the cause of death?
We are only tasked with the determination of cause and manner of death. Who committed the homicide is up to law enforcement, and I cannot answer the question about the FBI. You would have to contact them.
Jeremy Kopeth, you are now allowed to ask your question.
Yes, hello, doctor. If you could, please, can you comment on any other bruising, maybe on the body that possibly was healing, possibly older bruises or cuts that might have been healing over the last couple of weeks before her passing?
By Wyoming state statute, no other information about the autopsy is released, just the cause of death.
Hi there, this is Heather Lee, reporter at ABC Action News in Tampa, Florida. I just wanted to know if you could explain why it took about a month for this process to finish. I think a lot of people were hoping that they would learn this information sooner. So I just think if you could just explain the process and why it took a month.
Well, the main reason was that we were very exacting in our examination and the detail by which that examination was done. We were waiting for various specialists to come in and help us with this investigation. We were waiting on toxicology to be returned, and it was just a matter of making sure we had everything right.
Thank you.
Is there another question?
Brian Enton, I believe you're unmuted right now. Okay. Steve Fabian.
Yes, hi, doctor. How are you? I am curious if any DNA samples were taken from Gabby's remains, and also if the body was intact, are you able to tell us the condition of Gabby's remains?
I can tell you the DNA samples were taken by law enforcement, and all I can tell you about remains is that the body was outside for 3 to 4 weeks.
Chris Vivian, do you have your hand up?
Was that a question? I didn't hear the question there.
Question.
Dr. Blue,
Yes.
it's John Walsh again from In Pursuit with John Walsh. You will probably be the most important witness at the trial. And I asked you before how confident you feel that Brian Laundrie, and they use the semantics. He was a person of interest. I'm old school. He was the only suspect ever. And I just wonder, you're going to be the most important guy at the trial, probably. Do you have any doubts it's Brian Laundrie?
I can't make any comment about any suspects because we are not involved in that part of the investigation. We are only involved in the investigation of the body of the deceased. So who committed the homicide is really to be determined by law enforcement.
Right, but I thank you for your hard work. And I always say in so many cases I've been involved in, let the pathologist and the coroner do their work no matter how long it takes. So I think you've probably done a really good job on this case. Thank you for your time.
Hey there, doctor. This is Rochelle Aline with ABC Action News in Tampa. Just a quick question. Can you kind of walk us through the process to how you arrived at this specific manner of death?
In the state of Wyoming, there are 4 possibilities for the manner of death. They are homicide, suicide, accident, and natural. And those are the 4 choices. When we do an investigation, we look at the crime scene or the scene of the death, the scene of the body, the condition of the body, and findings at autopsy and toxicology. And that is how we arrive at the manner of death. So it really depends on lots of different circumstances.
Dr. Stephen Fabian again from Inside Edition. Can you tell us if the body was buried when it was discovered or if the body was on the surface?
I can't tell you that. That's would be something you'd have to ask the FBI because we're not allowed to release that information.
Kelly Vaughn. Do you have a question, Kelly Vaughn? We have Brian Enting in the chat who has a question. What's your question, Brian? Was there any impact on her body from weather or wild animals in the national park?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Was there any impact on her body from weather or wild animals in the national park?
All I can really comment about that is that her body was outside in the wilderness for 3 to 4 weeks.
KSL assignment, you were unmuted. KSL assignment.
Hello, Dan Rascone here from KSL TV in Salt Lake. Dr. Blue, can you tell us at all whether or not, was it believed that she was murdered there at that location, or is it any indication that her body was drugged there or taken there, or can you give us any indication there?
I can't comment on that. That would be something you'd have to speak with the law enforcement or the FBI.
Matthew Sella. Matthew Sella, do you have a question?
Hey, Dr. Blue. It's actually Jimmy from dailymail.com in New York here. What were the results of the toxicology report? And is there any suggestion that Gabby had any drugs in her system? And if so, what were they?
The results of the toxicology are not public knowledge by Wyoming statute, so I can't comment about that.
Thank you.
We have a question from the chat. Was Gabby Petito pregnant?
She was not pregnant.
Thomas Tope.
Hi, doctor. My question, did you seek the advice of a forensic entomologist or forensic botanist during the course of your investigation?
The FBI has sent materials to a forensic entomologist.
WPBF 25 News.
Hi, doctor. This is Terry Parker from WPBF in Palm Beach County, Florida. I'm wondering if you said you were very thorough in this autopsy and examination. Could you give us an example of the type of test and analysis you performed?
This autopsy included a whole body CAT scan, a examination by a forensic pathologist, an examination by a forensic anthropologist, and toxicology evaluation. So we pretty much covered all the bases.
Jeremy Kopis.
Yes, doctor, thank you for taking the question again. You mentioned that strangulation is the cause of death. Can you talk about how you came to that conclusion?
I cannot. That is part of the autopsy findings and is not discoverable by Wyoming statute.
Was there any other cause of death that was a possibility in this case?
Well, we look at all causes, all possibilities when we try to determine cause of death, but this is the cause of death that we determined.
I have a question from chat. It is, was the manner of death obvious? Strangulation marks, bones, injured neck.
Nothing is obvious in a situation like this, so detailed analysis was used both to determine manner and cause of death. I can't go into details on how we made those decisions.
Kristen Thorne.
Yes, hi, Dr. Kristen Thorne with WABC in New York. Could you just please repeat about how long you believe the body was out there? Unfortunately, the last time you spoke, we just didn't get a good film shot of you saying that. Would you mind repeating that?
Our initial determination is the body was in the wilderness for 3 to 4 weeks.
Thank you.
Jorge Fitzgibbon. You have to unmute. I believe you're still muted.
Sorry about that. Good afternoon, Dr. Blue. Relating back to the date of death, is there a date listed on the death certificate?
The death certificate has not been completed at this time, and the death certificates of the state of Wyoming allow for approximate dates and variability in those dates. So I doubt, well, there will not be an exact date of death on the death certificate.
Eileen with News 12.
Hi, doctor. This is Eileen LaPalmer from News 12. We sort of asked it a little bit, but is there a way that you can explain how you know that it was strangulation? Sometimes I know that a hyoid bone could be missing. Is that something that you discovered in this case?
I can't comment on that because it would be a finding of the autopsy. And as I stated before, in the state of Wyoming, the autopsy results are not public knowledge.
So then you can't clarify whether it was manual strangulation or with an item, correct?
That's correct.
Michael Ruiz.
Thanks for making time for us, doctor. Was the entire examination conducted at your lab in Jackson, or was Gabby Petito's body shipped to another facility?
The examination was done entirely at our board in Teton County, Wyoming.
Anna Gregorio.
Gregorio. It's actually Ashley Banfield with News Nation. Doctor, thank you for taking the time today. Can I ask you if from the very beginning of your process, was it obvious that the cause, not the manner, that the cause was strangulation and that you just needed this time to prove it out? Or were you completely unaware from the beginning what the cause of death was for Gabby Petito and had to resolve through a number of puzzle solving manners and other experts to arrive at that final cause determination?
In a situation like this, nothing is obvious. And so the cause of death required investigation.
We have a William Walkie.
Hey there, Dr. Blue. My name is Will. I'm from KHOL Jacksonville Community Radio here in Jackson. You're a small town coroner here in Western Wyoming. This case got so much national attention, as we can see right now. Can you speak on what it was like doing your job with such a big spotlight on you? Thanks.
Well, it was quite the media circus and continues to be. Unfortunately, this is only one of many deaths around the country of people who are involved in domestic violence. And it's unfortunate that these other deaths do not get as much coverage as this one. I'm assuming that because the deceased was a blogger, that this received more coverage than others. But there are a lot of both men and women who have lost their lives that aren't covered with this kind of media attention.
Francis DeFiore.
Yes, hello. This is Francis DeFiore from the Port Charlotte Sun. I just want to go back to my previous question, although I imagine your response. Is there anything you can tell us about how exactly you determined it was a 3 to 4 week period before death?
I can't go into that kind of information at this time.
I understand. Thank you very much.
Folks, this is JB Buno on WFLA Now. We're going to go back to the Zoom call here in just a second. We do have an update from the attorney of Brian Laundrie. Stephen Bertolino has issued a statement that's coming up here next.
Question, then.
We have the Snack Squad.
Hey, this is Andy Mercado from Mercado Media. Could you go over the length of time the autopsy report took? And thank you for your time, Dr. Blue.
Well, the length of time was involved in the sense that we received a report from the investigating and examining forensic pathologist. We had a report done by our anthropologist, and we had toxicology studies that were done in addition to the report from the radiologic studies. So all these came together, and that's what took time for us to complete this investigation.
Hi, doctor. Could you speak to the state of decomposition, and did that at all hinder your investigation?
No, I can't comment on that.
Dr. Blue, would you like to take any more questions?
Unless there's other specific questions that haven't been answered already, why don't we close this? And thank you all very much for your participation. And I can tell you that I will not be answering any other detailed questions about the autopsy. As I said, state statute prevents us from doing that. So contacting me by email and phone is not going to reveal any additional information. But thank you for your time, and I appreciate your interest.
Dr. Blue, I have one more question. Is there a way to determine if this was accidental or deliberate?
You mean in the sense of a homicide?
Yes.
That would be up to law enforcement to make that determination.
Great, thank you.
Again, thank you all very much for your time.
Breaking news on WFLA Now. Here's JB Buno.
Gabby Petito, at just 22 years old, died of strangulation, according to the autopsy conducted by who you just heard from, Dr. Brent Blue of the Teton County Coroner's Office. An answer that tells us how she died. But so many of you here in the comments asking, will there ever be justice for Gabby? Hey there, folks. JB Buno here with you live on WFLA Now. That was, of course, I'm sure, hard news for a lot of people to digest.
Hello, everyone. Okay, guess we found out what the situation is. What happened? Strangulation. Just like I thought to. Anybody wants to jump on the panel? Want to share their thoughts and opinions about this briefly? No do-rags, no bonnets, no smoking, stuff like that. You don't even have to show yourself. If anybody want to jump in, feel free to hit the link and share your thoughts. And yeah, this is a very weird press conference. Very weird. Doesn't seem like I got much answers, but strangled in 4 weeks. So I'm a little bit off on this timeline thing. I'm a little confused. Everybody let me know. Do y'all hear me clearly? Just put in the chats. I hope I'm not talking to myself. Should be able to hear me. Does everybody hear me clearly? Can you hear me clear? Hey, Lisa. Okay, good. You hear me clearly. Okay, so I'm going to play a little bit more of this news thing. If anybody wants to jump on, feel free. Yes, you can hear me. Okay, good. And Lisa, my dear, welcome to everybody who's coming into the chat. I'm glad to have you. I know probably a lot of people sneaking in due to, it's work time and stuff. I'm working from home today. So glad to have you here. And what else? Okay, so you hear me well. All right. Art says something. I hope they catch this evil. Yeah, I hope they do catch him. I hope they do. This is insane. This is really insane. And I personally think that he's dead. I think he's gone. I think he's dead and he's gone. Let me play some more of this. See what they have to say here. I'll put it back on.
And then was, in fact, Gabby Petito. It was 3 to 4 weeks before that Gabby Petito died of strangulation. And those dates are, so within that 3 to 4 week time window now, that makes it August 22nd to August 29th. But I'm going to bring up here, I'm going to put away, I'm going to read Kim's comment here, then I'm going to put it away because we're going to get to the timeline here. And I see Walt Buteau is hanging out. And Walt, if you'd like to sit down, you're more than welcome to sit on a mic if you'd like. We're kind of all just kind of processing this news here in the newsroom. Kim Brower, #KJB. If the time of death is 3 to 4 weeks, that means that he killed her right after being separated. Could this be why he came home for a week to get his exit prepared? And this is just one of the different types of comments that we're seeing out there. Kim, but let's put away your comment really quickly.
Jump in real quick on this. I think this more fits into that period of the 27th to the 30th, JB. That is when the FBI has put out a request for information from people who are in the Bridger Teton National Forest Spread Creek dispersed camping area, the 27th to the 30th. So again, he has that 3 to 4 week window. I'm still honed in on those days, the 27th to the 30th. He was also asked about whether an actual date of death will be put on her death certificate. He said it might just be a date range. They might never know exactly the date it was, JB, but I'm honed in on about 3.5 weeks before the 19th would fall right in that 27th to the 29th of August. Those are the dates I'm most honed in on from this news conference.
I agree. And I think we also have to focus on the 27th is the last day that somebody saw her. This 27th is the last day she texted her mother. And the doctor, the coroner also pointed out, under Wyoming law, he doesn't have to put a date on there. He can put a date range. And again, and by the way, the 27th is also the day that the van was spotted by the video, the woman from Spring Hill, right? So the 27th, again, I agree with Justin. I think that period of time is still there. Obviously, it's possible they can go all the way back to that 4 week range, but I think they kind of do that out of precaution, right? I still think those 3 dates are key.
I want to really quickly show our audience here a live picture from, we'll tap the touchscreen here. We'll go live to outside of the laundry home here. We're just keeping an eye here on the laundry home here to see if there's any neighbors that gather outside. This is now, of course, a story that has led to this day as far as the coroner releasing the cause of death for Gabrielle Petito, and it being that Gabby Petito died of strangulation.
JB, if I could just jump in one more thing, because you did tease this. Our colleague Masa Saidi during that news conference,
that's right.
And I have it right here to read if you don't mind. If I can go ahead, JB.
Absolutely.
So as we take a look at the laundry home, a reminder at this point, the only crime that Brian Laundrie has been charged with is debit card fraud. This is the news statement just into the newsroom, courtesy of our colleague investigator Masa Saidi. It says, quote, from Stephen Bertolino: Gabby Petito's death at such a young age is a tragedy. While Brian Laundrie is currently charged with the unauthorized use of a debit card belonging to Gabby, Brian is only considered a person of interest in relation to Gabby Petito's demise. At this time, Brian is still missing. When he is located, we will address the pending fraud charges against him, end quote. That is the news statement, courtesy of Masa Saidi from Stephen Bertolino. What jumped out to me, JB, is that this statement acknowledges that he is accused of fraud using Gabby's card, which the charging document did not say.
That's right.
The family attorney on Dr. Phil did say they believed it was her card. Here is the attorney for the Laundrie family acknowledging that he is charged with unauthorized access to her bank account, which I think is significant.
I'm sure that it's just small compared to the looming charge that could be out there, provided that, of course, if he is named a suspect, that charge, of course, being, would that charge be murder? Debit card, that charge of use of unauthorized access devices of an amount aggregated to more than $1,000. It's probably really small time compared to, of course, what could be around the corner here. But again, we got to stay rooted in reality, because listen, Stephen Bertolino is 100% right. I know that there's a lot of comments here flying up and down our screens here from YouTube and on Facebook right now. As frustrating as it might be for some of our audience joining us here live right now, Brian Laundrie is still just a person of interest.
But he's wanted for this federal charge, and that obviously changed his status from just a missing person to a wanted fugitive. And that was a significant, another one of the twists, JB, in this whole case. Another headline, a rumor we can say is now put to rest, is the coroner did say she was not pregnant. That's been a lot of speculation. There was another hard no when that was asked. So I want to mention that to any of our viewers just joining us. There have been speculations, analyzing photos near the white van, but the coroner came out and said definitively Miss Potito was not pregnant at the time of her death.
We have a ton of #HeyJB, #HeyJust. You can also now use, of course, #HeyWalt for 8 on your side. Senior investigator Walt Buteau joining us here in our stream center. And let's get to Debbie Solis's comment, because Justin, you shouted this out to the newsroom as soon as we heard this. Debbie, #HeyJB, #HeyJustin. Did Dr. Blue, he made the statement regarding domestic abuse. Did he slip up there in that moment?
I think he might have. Again, John Walsh asked the question on everybody's mind, could a certain person of interest have done this? He said, that is not my job. That is the role of the FBI and law enforcement. But when asked about all the attention this case has received, he did make note of there are a lot of, sadly, other instances of domestic violence across the country. And the use of those two words, I did not expect to hear that, JB. For most of the press conference, he was very straightforward with the medical analysis, but he did make that comment. And as Debbie heard it, I shouted out here in the newsroom. I was surprised to hear that mention as well. But we do know, JB, as we've talked about, the positives from this tragedy? Again, we don't know all the answers here. We'll go what they say, that there has been a raising awareness. We know Gabby's father has talked about, if you're in a bad relationship, look to get out there, and hopefully this awful tragedy can lead to other positive change for people who are in bad relationships.
Surprised by the domestic abuse comment there, Walt, given of course, the magnitude of the viewership, the amount of people that were watching. I think we had about 250,000 or so people watching just our stream. I can't imagine all the live streams across the internet, just how many people were watching that moment. So, Walt, I'm sure you were as surprised as any that was uttered. We heard Dr. Blue there saying repeatedly, I have to stay focused on what the results of the autopsy are, what the body tells me. He can't even go into super specifics without compromising, of course, the federal investigation. So for him to say that that's a curious moment, of course, here in the press
Dr.
conference.
Blue also reflected on, after a question by, it seemed like I think it was a Jackson, Wyoming reporter about, I think he called him, whether it's true or not, a small town coroner. I mean, he's never faced that much media, nor will he probably ever again. So did he slip up? Perhaps he could have got caught up in the moment that many people actually for many days have insisted this must be a case of domestic abuse. That's why it's getting so much attention, right? We saw domestic abuse in this case involving Gabby Petito. To hint that the end of her life involved domestic abuse, obviously a potential slip up, but again, it's a puzzle that's being put together. And to Justin's point about the about now knowing it's Gabby Petito's credit card because the attorney said that is something that that's something that many people have reached out to me, that I kept saying we didn't know it was Gabby Petito's credit card because we didn't. The document didn't say it.
We know her family attorney told Dr. Phil.
Yeah, they didn't say it to me. Now we have the attorney saying it. So again, it's pieces to the puzzle.
The direct quote, we can go back, listen to the tape, was that Dr. Blue said this is one of many deaths involved in domestic violence. Those are the words I jotted down here as he said that. So we'll go back, listen to the tape. And again, it was a surprising moment given how tight-lipped he was about a lot of the questions. In the
Mr. Bertolino is going to get a lot of questions about that statement, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, this was Dr. Blue. The one
I know, but Mr. Bertolino is going to get questions about that statement, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Let me pass along here one more time. I want to read Stephen Bertolino's statement one more time because people are still asking for it. One more time. This is Stephen Bertolino, Brian Laundrie's attorney, now responding here during the press conference. Now, not even waiting for the press conference to be over, responding during the press conference. And it reads as follows: Gabby Petito's death at such a young age is a tragedy. While Brian Laundrie is currently charged with the unauthorized use of a debit card belonging to Gabby, Brian is only considered a person of interest in relation to Gabby Petito's demise. At this time, Brian is still missing, and when he is located, we will address the pending fraud charge against him.
In the words of the Potito family attorney, he is, quote, hiding, not missing. That is what Mr. Stafford has said on the record since he was reported missing.
Really quick, because we're about to lose this shot here. Just one more quick look here from outside of the home here. Very quiet outside of the laundry home. So people were asking, what is it like outside the home right now? Nothing to report as far as any activity there at the laundry home. Back with you here live on WFLA Now. Let's bring Walt back in here. JB Buno, Justin Schecker, 8 on your side, senior investigator Walt Buteau joining us here, everybody. You can use any of the hashtags here on your screen, and we can feature your comments here live on WFLA Now. But I really want to get now into the timeline and asking and taking some of the questions like these, and you can use these hashtags, everybody. We can animate your comments on screen if you do so. Angel Morgan, hashtag KJB. If he came back to Florida on August 17th to clean out a storage room, has anyone checked on the storage room? He strangled her, and probably out of anger. Again, this is just one of the comments here from our audience here. And then also to Maggie Joanna, hashtag KJB. Hi, I had a question. When was the last text message to her mom regarding Stan? So let's get it. Let's get into this.
27.
We're going to scroll here. We're going to scroll here together on our screen.
That's the one that she called odd. She said it was odd because she didn't call her grandfather Stan.
Yep.
Let's kind of go through this here together now. And now we can kind of piece together now this timeline a little bit. Okay, everybody, this is the timeline from WFLA.com and the WFLA app. August 17th, Gabby posts photos from Arches National Park in Moab, Utah. Brian flies home to Florida from Salt Lake City to obtain some items and empty a close storage unit to save money, according to attorney Stephen Bertolino. So Brian flies home to Florida, leaves Gabby on August 17th. Scrolling down here on WFLA.com, August 19th, Gabby and Brian post an 8-minute video documenting the beginning of their van life journey on their Nomadic Static YouTube channel. That coming while Brian, of course, was in Florida. That being posted, that 8-minute video being posted to their social account. Okay, fast forward now to August 21st, and I'll explain how this now impacts the timeline that we've just now gotten some key dates here. Gabby's father, Joe Potito, last speaks with his daughter in a FaceTime call on August 21st. He helps her order a pizza in Salt Lake City and talks to her about the trip so far. He later says that he notices no red flags during this conversation here on August 21st. Now, there should be now a new, and we'll add this, or we'll try to add this here.
Yeah.
The 22nd now
would be 4 weeks.
Thank you, Justin. Would be 4 weeks
before her body's found in the wilderness.
Which would be now according to, and we don't know if how precise that timeline is, but according to Dr. Brent Blue, 3 to 4 weeks before the body was found is when she died of strangulation, which means that the most early date would be August 22nd.
Yeah.
However, Brian flies back to Salt Lake City to rejoin Gabby on the 23rd, and on the 25th now, on August 25th, now 3 days after that 4-week point here in the timeline, Gabby's mother, Nicole Schmidt, last speaks with her daughter on the phone while Gabby was near Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. So couldn't, based on this timeline and based on what we have as far as the events here, couldn't have died August 22nd, 23rd, or 24th, based on this phone call that Nicole says that she got from Gabby on the 25th.
Again, I'm still honed in on the 27th to the 30th. Those are the days.
And that's what we're getting.
Keep scrolling down. Yeah,
we'll keep scrolling down here. Now down to August 27th. This is where, okay, back to the commenter here. Maggie Joanna here, hashtag AJB. I had a question. When was the last text message to her mom regarding Stan? So Gabby asking, you shall receive. Gabby's mother receives an odd text on August 27th that leaves her a little worried that something is wrong, according to the search warrant. Gabby and Brian visit a restaurant in Wyoming. Staff members and other diners later recall an unspecified incident with the couple.
The restaurant did put that out on their Instagram page, saying that they had contacted the authorities about whatever they observed that day.
There was another blogger from New Orleans who saw
on
the,
Instagram
says
and-
she saw the couple at the restaurant, and that Brian got angry with a waitress that they left. So again, that's 27th, but I guess, was it really Gabby? We don't know, but it seems like they fit the description. And again, the 27th, we think later in the afternoon is when
the red, white, and buffoon bloggers on their GoPro, they spotted the white
van in an area that tipped off investigators
the
to
next
where
day they found her body.
where the body was found.
They wouldn't specifically confirm that to us as they went to
But
answer
it was-
questions,
it
but it was
gave them
in
a
that
starting
window
point.
that they were able to narrow down where she could be.
August 30th, Gabby's mother receives a final text from Gabby, but does not confirm over the phone that it was her. And then, of course, August 30th to September 1st, Brian Laundrie uses a Capital One bank debit card and personal ID number for
And
2
we
bank
can add that,
accounts.
citing the attorney, it's her card.
It is Gabby's card.
And that from the news release, not the court document, but the FBI news release
Said-
from the news release said the crime happened following
Gabby's
the death of Gabby Petito. And so we now, again, can at least believe, again, allegedly, because this is science, it's not
charge.
exact, but the charge would say that she was dead sometime on the 30th. And then
before
that.
30th,
So again, the 27th to the 30th looms large in the end of this girl's life.
It does. These final days here of August, where the timeline has been condensed after, of course, being dissected and being, of course, so many points being added on the timeline.
Yeah, it's
and
been
it's
interesting.
really, really become more concise here. And we now have a better idea as to when Gabby Petito lost her life. And again, for those of you just joining us, it was of strangulation, according to the coroner.
And with that we now also know, we don't know, but it would be interesting to get a legal expert on here because strangulation is going to be we're not talking if it's proven in court we're not talking about criminally negligent homicide with a strangulation. We're not talking about manslaughter. We are more than likely talking about first or second degree. I'm not an attorney, but if it was a blunt force trauma and she fell is one thing, but strangulation, I think a lawyer would tell us, no matter who did it, that there's an intent with that particular crime.
At least harm.
You
an
didn't
intent of
stop,
harm,
right?
yeah.
Intent to harm, sure,
Yeah.
right? That's true.
I've been interacting with some of the folks on Reddit, on the Gabby Petito subreddit, and I think really what needs to happen now, and I know that I've already seen a little bit of this going on, but there needs to be now a zoomed in timeline. We have, of course, a very broad timeline. I mean, this timeline here, for example, on WFLA.com goes all the way back to July 2nd when they left.
Yeah.
But what there needs to be now is a super hyper specific timeline for those dates for really August.
The last week of August.
Really, the last week of August.
From when he
25th to the 30th.
Yeah.
Yep. To really the 31st to really up until
to the first
of
when he
September.
comes back all the way across country. 24-hour drive back to.
Yeah, and that's something that we're going to be working on here now, as far as now really getting into the nitty gritty of those final days here.
Yeah.
And because now we have it confirmed here from a credible law enforcement or credible, of course, agency here, as far as the coroner's office here, we can really now get super hyper specific as the timeline on those various days. Yeah. Let's get to this question for you, Walt, and it comes from Lori Ann. #Hey Walt, could the parents be charged for hindering the investigation?
So, there's federal charges, there are state charges. Hindering the investigation, I believe, yes, in both cases. But that would involve getting in the way of the investigation, hiding this or hiding that. Accessory after the fact in Florida and federally, first and second degree. There's first and second degree where you could be charged, but there's also a third degree where a parent can't be charged. There's immunity for a parent in a third degree case where they cannot be charged. But in this case, it seems like it would be a first or second degree. So the parent, I don't like this question. I'm actually sorry I answered it, because the parents aren't charged with anything and we don't want to speculate, but there definitely charges are possible in cases like this, but nothing's been proven about those parents at all. Nothing.
Again, JB Buno, Walt Buteau, Justin Checker here, everybody, getting to some of the other comments and questions that have come in here. And how about Maddie Goddard, #HeyJB, #HeyJustin. It was so frustrating, people asking questions, even though he clearly stated he can't answer because it's against Wyoming law. And Walt, it's not even just against Wyoming law, it's really against federal law.
Right,
I mean, federal law, an ongoing federal investigation.
Right.
There was really only so much that we were going to get here. And there were some folks out there saying we didn't know. We didn't know if we were going to get the cause of death, but we now have it, of course, that it was strangulation. And I'm trying to go here. I'm going to go back to my notes here, answering a question there from Ashley Banfield, and asked, was it obvious?
Right. Good question.
This was something I was wondering. I'm glad that Ashley asked it. Ashley, part of News Nation, asked if it was, coroners, they do hundreds, if not thousands, of medical examinations, many of them, of course, some of the more experienced ones across the country. And it's going to be some are going to be more obvious than others. We've talked about this on stream before, and that some are just going to be pretty clear cut. Others are going to, exact words were in this case, nothing is obvious. And that could just be sort of his approach to conducting an autopsy. And
it's a smart thing for him to say.
It is. It's very smart for him to say. But he says nothing is obvious, and it might not have been something that right off the bat that he knew was strangulation when, of course, he began the autopsy itself.
And you think about it, he began the autopsy was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks, or the body was discovered 2 weeks ago. What's the timeline?
September 19th.
September 19th.
Yeah.
So almost 3 weeks ago, is that right?
Coming up on
and the body had been there for a while. I would bet that in this case, nothing was obvious. Very well makes sense. The body had been there a little while, we think, and sadly, so how obvious could it have been? Anything could it have been? But you can also reflect back on, they somehow knew it was they suspected it was a homicide 1 or 2 days after the body was found. So something told them, and that was the FBI that held that news conference, by the way. The FBI does not doesn't say things that that they're not sure of. Obviously, law enforcement tends to not do that, but especially the FBI. And for them to say that 1 or 2 days after, something must have been apparent, if not obvious, that led them to believe it was a homicide.
Getting to some other questions and comments that are coming in here, and I'm just reading through some of them. You can use hashtag HeyJB, folks. File them in, hashtag HeyJustin, hashtag HeyWalt. You know, let's just, I would just like to just kind of address just something that I was thinking about, and I'm sure a lot of were thinking about. That this is to strangle somebody, to strangle the life out of another human being. And if anybody follows any, you know, any true crime, you know, documentaries, anything like that, you know that to strangle somebody is such a, first of all, it's just a god awful way to go. It's just so terrible. It's just absolutely so terrible. And it is, and I have heard experts say that it is an extremely, there's no good way to die. But it's an extremely personal method.
I was going to say the same thing.
Of
I've heard
killing
that.
somebody.
Right. I've heard that from investigators.
To literally choke the life out of somebody.
It's horrifying.
And we don't know whether or not, when it comes to strangulation here, whether or not a fight occurred and things just got carried away. We don't know if there was an intent for this person to literally choke the life out of her and end her life, or it was a fight that, or it was just some kind of a struggle, an altercation that got out of hand, and it happened, and it wasn't intended. It was just an altercation that got out of hand. But it's just such a personal and means to kill another human being.
The intent factor, though, is the intent factor has a extra dose of resonance here, just because of that particular cause.
And one thing the coroner would not say is whether or not the body was dragged or buried anywhere, you know, as to where they found it, if that's where the actual strangulation occurred. He declined to answer that, saying that would be part of the police investigation. So we don't know if that was the place where the strangulation happened.
And I just want to one more time here, just kind of explain what I meant by that.
No, I know. I know.
And for our audience, I know that you guys know, but I want to explain what I meant by that comment. You kill somebody with a gunshot to the head, let's just say, that manner of homicide, that manner of murder. That is one moment where you pull a trigger, and then if it's a fatal blow with the firearm, that's that. It's you can't really go back in time. It's over with. Now, you can't go back in time with any meat, but what I was getting at is that when the means of strangulation, killing somebody via strangulation, you're doing it, it's not instantaneous. You're doing it over a period of time. Yeah. And you have time, even though you're probably, that person, the suspect, the killer in this case, is in tremendous emotional distress, as of course the person is the victim in the case is in tremendous emotional, physical, all kinds of distress. I mean, they're having literally the life choked out of them. They have an opportunity while the suspect is doing this to stop, to think, to stop and process. But that didn't happen here. That we have a manner of death via strangulation where somebody strangled Gabby Petito to death and didn't stop when they had an opportunity to. And you have an opportunity to, and you didn't. There
are I've covered many court cases where I've seen defense attorneys argue about if someone shot someone to death, about intent. And you'd think, well, you got your finger on the trigger. You didn't intend to kill them, but intent can be, I remember an attorney doing this in court, intent can happen like this with a gunshot. Again, did I mean to kill the guy? Did I not mean to kill the guy? And that ups the charge. That ups what the charge is. But yeah, I think intent in this sort of case, in a strangulation, if you believe the internet, a strangulation takes
right there on the screen.
3 to 5 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes.
And Jen Saucy here saying, and I have heard this terminology used as well, that strangulation is considered a crime of passion.
It's face to face, right?
Yeah, unless you're doing it from behind, or in perhaps
or it's after the fact,
or using a device,
unconscious.
Yep.
All horrible stuff.
It's god awful to envision. Yeah. And what was really, I'm sure, gut wrenching for a lot of folks and it's only human to feel this way, is that we've been looking here at pictures of Gabby Petito. We've been looking here at pictures of Brian Laundrie. And while, again, Brian Laundrie is not a suspect in her homicide, just a person of interest, we've seen these pictures. And to think about it ending via strangulation, it makes your heart drop. It makes your heart sink. It's a difficult day for, I'm sure, many of our WFLA Now viewers. I just want to, if anybody wants to talk about it, I'm here in any capacity that I can do. We're going to stay here with you live for a little bit longer. Justin, Walt, how long do you guys have here? I think we were going to try to go a bit longer here. How long?
I'm fine, JB.
I'm fine, JB. We can hang as long as you need to.
Yeah, these guys, of course, have their television reports to file for WFLA News Channel 8. Let's get to this one here from Angela Koosh, and I'll let you guys take this one. I want to really get a lot of, from across all of our platforms here, #HeyJB, #HeyJustin, #HeyWalt comments and questions here. So start following them in here now if there's something you want us to feature here on stream. But Walt, can you read this question here?
Yeah, so Stan was her grandfather, according to Nicole Schmidt, Gabby's mother. Stan was her grandfather's name. I'd heard somewhere there was potential plans to visit him at some point, but Nicole Schmidt told police in one of our first affidavits in this case, a search warrant affidavit for either electronics or the van, one of the two, that she found it odd. She called it, quote, odd, that her daughter would refer to her grandfather by his first name. And of course, at that point, we don't have the other, like you talked about the timeline, we don't have the other points in the timeline filled in. So when she said it was odd, there was a lot of speculation that may be eliminated now that was not sent by Gabby, but the code Stan, I was about to look it up. My wife actually told me about that. Stan is code for, do you know, JB, off the top of your head? You heard that?
Send
something
I just had it.
Stan code.
Send the authorities now. Thank you.
Send the authorities now. Of course, I mean, it would be awfully coincidental that her grandfather's name is Stan and she said Stan as a code, but anything's possible. Anything's possible. And that's on the 27th when the van is spotted. But yeah, that Stan is here's what we know. Stan is the grandfather, according to Nicole Schmidt. It was odd for Gabby to use the word Stan to call her grandfather by the name Stan. We know that. We don't know about the code.
Let's get to some other questions and comments that are coming in here, and I'm going to try to add as many. Megan Den asking a great question, #HeyJB, #HeyWalt, and Justin, we were talking about this while the press conference was underway. Can you go over the toxicology report again? And we didn't get any toxicology information here in this press conference.
He did not reveal any results of the toxicology. He went over, there's 4 potential manners of death: homicide, a natural death, accidental death. This obviously being ruled a homicide by strangulation. But again, for the most part, Dr. Brent Blue was fairly tight-lipped, and he did not reveal any toxicology results.
Let's get to this one here from, I'll let you take this one here, Walt. It's from Donovan Roos, #HeyJB. Is this now considered a murder investigation?
Homicide is the blanket of somebody being killed by someone else. Murder is a charge. There's first, depending on Wyoming and there's federal law. If this falls under federal law, which it very well might be, there is a death penalty for certain types of murders under federal law. I don't know if we have a federal manslaughter or criminally negligent homicide charge, but generally you have first-degree murder, which is many times punishable by death if there's a death penalty in the state. Most death penalties would involve a second sort of felony in order to get the death penalty. And then you have a second-degree murder, which would sort of go to, again, that intent. What did you mean to do? And it would establish penalty. But no, this is still a homicide investigation until we have a suspect who is charged with anything that I just mentioned. You're not going to be charged with homicide. You're going to be charged with either a federal crime or a state crime, and it'll tell us at that point whether or not it's a murder investigation. We don't have that yet. We have a person of interest, and we have a suspect in a credit card fraud case.
Let's get to this one here from, and I'm trying to get to.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to play a little more, but I just want to show another clip of something that happened at Brian Laundrie's parents' house. Was very interesting. a bunch of people. So I'm going to show a news clip, then I'll switch back over to this. And I was saying about with the parents, which everybody, have a great point. You can't really stop your kids because they're saying that Gabby been living with him for 2 years and his parents, correct? So if her birthday is like in March, that's when her birthday is. So I'm assuming maybe whatever the timeline is that she must have left when she was around 18, 19, right after high school. Because if I'm correct, I believe the Laundrie family was living in New York. So they all met, Gabby and Brian met in high school. So I guess the parents, after graduated, they moved to Florida. She's like, I want to go be with my my boyfriend, and she moves all the way to Florida. But it's just strange because fathers don't usually let that with daughters. Why the parents was okay for her to move all the way out to Florida. And what's puzzling to me, these are all my thoughts and opinions, but what's puzzling to me, she's been out there for 2 years, correct? And you never knew that she was being abused all this time. And even her friend was saying that she was being abused by Brian Laundrie, that there was abusive relationship. So I'm like, well, her parents didn't know, she didn't speak to them, the parents didn't come and visit to Florida. Because I mean, if your daughter moves all the way out there, I mean, I don't know if they did visit. I don't know. They didn't say anything, but I'd like to know, did the parents ever go out there and visit in Florida to see what was happening, with their daughter? Because it's just odd. I just don't see a daughter, at a young age, you're just going to let you just leave like that, But like I said, kids, they want to do what they want to do. It's just a little puzzling to me. I'm not trying to put fault the parents, but I'm just trying to figure out how it all stems. I go more deeper into things when I look at stuff. I go more into the root of it. Because when you look at this scene right here, you see this little clip here. And when she was having anxiety, correct? This anxiety did not come from Brian Laundrie. I'm sorry. She been had anxiety since she was a little girl. Where did she get it from? Might be something from her childhood, something that happened as a child. But, being with Brian Laundrie, with him gaslighting her, doing things, and her anxiety just went off the roof. But she's been had it a long time ago. So it's just very puzzling to me. I just, basically say to parents, just really watch who your kids is dating, who they with. Not let them be so quick to let them move out of your house to go and move with somebody. I mean, she's moving in with a man. She didn't even go away to college. You got some parents out here won't even let their kids go away so far to college because they're concerned that something might happen to them. Watch your kids, who they dating. You go around, you be around them. It's just odd. Why is she moving in with this guy? And I'm like, and the parents said that they never knew anything about him being abusive. And I know he didn't just start on this trip. He's been controlling. Like I say, you find out a lot through the friend. And when the girl, her friend, she did an interview. I wish I could find it. I could show you the news clip. But she said that they had a lot of arguments. He was very controlling. He would get very jealous. And those are all the signs. Okay, I'm going to show you another little clip here if I can find it. Yeah, this was very interesting. Okay. I'm going to share another screen. So tell me, do you all agree with me, disagree with me? Put in the chats. Let me know. What do you think? Okay. Now, this happened the other night. Hey, you did it to yourself. This is what's going to happen. All right, ready? I'm going to play it.
Do you guys feel guilty about Gabby? Is there a reason the FBI thinks you're not telling the truth? Do you know where Brian's passport is? Do you have anything to say about Gabby? A lot of the neighbors think you guys know more than you're saying. They're dropped off the sign. They want you to know that they're concerned that you guys know more than you're saying. Do you guys feel guilty about Gabby? Is there a reason the FBI thinks you're not telling the truth? Do you know where
These
Brian's
parents are so
passport is?
trifling. They are extremely trifling. I believe she was living a life of hell in that house,
Do you
Gabby
have anything
Petito.
to say about Gabby? A lot of the neighbors think you
These
guys know more than
parents seen
you're
their
saying.
son being controlling, abusive to
They're dropped off the sign. They want you
to
to know that
Gabby,
they're concerned that
and
you
they
guys
just
know
let it
more than you're
happen.
saying.
They're not surprised about what happened. They're not surprised. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, these parents, if she was living in that house with those parents know a lot of stuff. They seen a lot of stuff. They didn't care one bit. Yeah, they didn't care one bit. B&B, they didn't. They knew. The mother probably was getting abused by the father on the regular. So, they just think it's natural, and that's where Brian learned it from. Or then again, two people could lay down and just birth a monster. But you see, I don't like the fact that you sit here and you protect your child from doing something like that. Your child, what your child did is wrong. Your child committed a crime. Okay, your child went away with Gabby and came back without him. No, there's no getting no lawyer. I'm calling 911 and I want to get your butt out of this house. You gotta go. That's just it. Okay, I'm gonna play a little bit more of this news thing. See if anybody else want to watch a little bit more, and then we'll wrap it up. Cause this is just really just insane. There's just so many questions that I have. I guess a lot of people do too, not just me. Here we go.
We don't know when the coroner got to the point where the FBI could be looped in as to the cause of death. Was that something that occurred this week or last week or weeks? Probably not weeks ago. You would imagine that it was sometime recently. But this notion out there, to Hannah's comment, this notion out there that this brings new life to the manhunt, that this is going to, spur law enforcement into action.
I don't think they want him any more now than they wanted him before, and they want to get him. And I think I will say though, I don't think it's great speculation to talk about the fact that they had an idea of the cause when they said it was a homicide, right? Yeah. I mean, you talked. Was there a bullet on the scene? Homicide.
Were there marks on the body?
Marks
they might
on
have
the
observed,
body in a certain area? Homicide. Something let them believe it was a homicide. And now, of course, it could have been something they found in a phone. I don't know. It could have been a note.
Yeah.
Could have been. I don't know. But at this point, I think that. So they're after this guy. And I will say this too. Look up the definition of person of interest and suspect, and they're pretty close. They're not that far away. So they have some thoughts that he knows something beyond using her credit cards. Now we can say her credit cards.
Yeah.
Right? Beyond using her credit cards, they suspect, no doubt, for all this time, he knows something about her disappearance.
And tomorrow, JB, will be October 13th. Will be 1 month since his family's corrected timeline. The last time they say they saw him on that Monday. Just an interesting on a note of our coverage, JB, that Monday night was the first night I filed a report about this story, was as his name was starting to get out there after the missing person report on the Saturday, the 11th. By Monday, you had media starting to show up at the home.
Mrs. Schmidt.
Mrs. Schmidt found then, but that Monday is when the family says they last saw him.
Right.
That Sunday night into Monday was the first time here locally and other national outlets start to pick up this story, and people started to learn the names of Gabby Petito. Literally, I went back into my archive. It was that Monday afternoon. Well, it was when I literally had our assignment desk find the address for the laundry home. Was that Monday the 13th. And that was where the first night a lot of us started to report about this. Is also the same day the family says, hey, that's when we last saw him.
But of course, initially for the last 2-3 weeks, we thought it was Tuesday.
And they backtracked it to the Monday.
And the Friday after that Monday is when the family said, we haven't seen him since Tuesday. And then we also found out on that Thursday of that week.
They said they knew where he was.
They knew where he was.
And then
I think just this week or last week we found out he was under surveillance.
Yeah.
Which would beg the question, what happened?
But they also said when they showed up at the home on that Saturday and they found the van, the family just gave over the attorney's card. There's no known confirmation they saw him that night or actually spoke to him. It was,
Right.
here's our attorney in New York. We're not saying
Who are
anything.
they watching? If they're watching,
If they're watching the house, but yeah.
Right, that's true.
Well, we know. I've also, JB, I've been surprised about that too. Curious your thoughts. That Northport Police, this is turned over to the FBI. They've been talking more. I know Josh Taylor spoke with Brian Enton last week, but I'm a little surprised to see Northport trying to maybe come out and adjust their accounting of events, because we keep talking about that press conference with the police chief saying we know where he is. The next day, they have another missing person case on their hands. So I've been
Brady Judd said he wouldn't have lost him. That made the news, and people loved hearing that. So yeah, I mean, there's some criticism aimed at Northport Police, fair or not. And I'll say this as someone who has participated in surveillance as a reporter, it's not it's not like a movie. It's not as easy as it looks. There's there's certain things you can't do. There's a lot of things we can't do, and there are even things police are limited in doing.
And the other thing Josh Taylor did tell me when I interviewed him that Monday is that they were in the process of trying to access the phone records and the bank records. We know the phone has not been found, but we know the bank records is what led to the only charge against Brian Laundrie to this point. He did mention that Monday.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to wrap this up in a few minutes, okay? I'll play just a little bit more of it, and then I'm going to wrap it up, and then I'll say a little brief closing thoughts. So thank you for everybody for being here. So I'll just play a little bit more and see if they say anything else different. Okay, we'll resume.
Made the reservation at the campground, been released, whether his mom made the reservation after he came into town or prior. I don't remember if I heard if the date in which the reservations were made was out there. Any of you guys?
So we were able to confirm, according to the Fort DeSoto camp records from Pinellas County, that the reservation was there from the 6th to the 8th. For context, Monday the 6th was Labor Day. And when I was out at the park talking to campers, it's a popular area. You don't just book that a week before. Again, JB, we don't know exactly when the family made the reservation. We know from Stephen Bertolino said they were there the 6th and the 7th. We know from Cassie Laundrie's comments that they went over, had s'mores there, I believe, on the Labor Day on the Monday the 6th. So we don't know when that reservation was made, but we have confirmation from Stephen Bertolino that Roberta, Chris, Brian were there, and then Cassie Laundrie says she and her family did see them at one point when they were there for at least that 2-day period, the one night. But again, that's Labor Day Monday, one of the most popular parks here in the.
Could be cancellations, but I would bet.
Could be, but they were like spot 2 or 3. They were right near when I walked in there. Seemed to be a pretty prime spot right on the water that you don't book that 2-3 days out on a holiday weekend.
So that particular park, Fort DeSoto, has. It's like you said, it's near the water. It's beautiful, shallow water, great place for kids, warm water. You're in the woods, but you're not. There's electricity. It is a very popular place, and good weather, or little hot for me, but still good weather.
Labor Day in Florida.
You know what? I tell you, I'd be surprised if they were able to book that
after he got back on the 1st. Would be very.
I would bet it would be quite a while ago.
Yeah.
But we do not have that confirmed. There's no way for us to really
We
get
just
that.
know the dates they were there, and we've talked about how while this family was out there camping after their son returned with the van without his fiancée, she was MIA, and it's what do or do not the parents know, and that's where we are here today, October 12th.
Lisa Warden, #HJB. I think that Brian could have grown his beard out and hair out and could be in public and no one recognizes him. So the beard. Absolutely could have a pretty scruffy looking beard by now. And we've talked at great length here on the stream about how wearing a COVID mask, a pair of sunglasses and a hat makes you pretty hard to spot. There have been some artist renderings of what Brian Laundrie might look like today. And quite frankly, folks, it's not all that dissimilar from what he looked like over the summer. I remember we had hairstylists comment on one of our previous stream about how long the average male's hair can grow, and it's usually about 1/4 of an inch a week, if I remember correctly. So it's not as if his hair would be. We're not talking Robin Williams and Jumanji here, folks. We're talking about somebody who's probably got relatively short hair still, maybe a scruffy beard, but the entire world looking for Brian Laundrie still.
I just want to point out, and I'm going to say this again because I've said it before, that we think that and the number of followers during what you've done, JB, here is remarkable, and you've done a great job, and Justin's done a great job. I think it says a lot about WFLA, but I would tell you, we're the ones following it. Let's not assume everybody knows who he is. Whitey Bulger escaped capture for decades, and they are able to find jurors in high profile cases who say, I've sat in on high profile local cases where somebody says, I don't know, I've never followed that. Now, some people suspect they're only saying that to get on the jury, but I really believe that it is possible to disappear forever. I don't know. And we've seen a lot of them, more than most suspects, more than Whitey Bulger. We had an old black and white picture, right? This guy, we've
All
seen
the
him
photos,
walk.
the videos with
We've seen
Gabby
him
from
walk.
the trip. Yep.
We've
The body
heard him
camera
talk.
video with the
body
police.
camera.
Yep.
We've seen him stressed. So yes, it seems like it would be hard to hide, but it might not be that hard to hide. It just might not be.
Let's get to some other comments that are coming in here, folks. Juggling a lot here because we have a huge, obviously, we just got still so many people that are trying to get their questions in. Well, why don't you take this one here from Janet, and I'll continue looking for some questions and comments here. And actually, I'll throw both of you guys up here. Janet Mahone, hashtag Hey Walt. Could they
JB.
Yeah, that's not a very flattering.
No, I know.
We gotta fix your camera.
Yeah.
Could they charge and try him even if they never find him? I would say no.
No,
they cannot. You can charge somebody without a body. I've seen it. I've covered a case where no body, but you can't charge him without finding him.
And I brought this up several times with you, JB and Walt. The fact that they located her so quickly. Back when I was up in Connecticut, there was the case of Jennifer Dulos, the woman who went missing, the mother of 5. They still to this day never found her body, and that was in Connecticut, there where her ex-husband was charged. He's since committed suicide, but in that high-profile case, they never found the woman's body. So the fact that you do have her body, we have a cause of death being strangulation, the manner being a homicide, that is obviously key to any case the FBI or local would build. So we know there are other cases of people who vanished, who've presumed to be dead, where they never locate the body. But as to whether finding him, they probably got to find him and bring him into court.
In some countries,
whoever
countries that might be possible, not in the United States of America.
I want to bring up another comment here. Let's see this one here. And it's from, Lauren. I'm glad you asked this. Lauren, hashtag Hey JB, hashtag Hey Justin, hashtag Hey Walt. What do you think the purpose of the new statement made by Brian's lawyer was during such a breaking announcement? And the Teton County coroner is holding his press conference. And the statement comes in from Stephen Bertolino in East Islip, New York. Again, the attorney for Brian Laundrie, the attorney brought in by the family. And he issues his statement during the press conference. Didn't even wait for the press conference to end. What do you guys?
I'm frozen again, but I have one answer to this.
I will unfreeze you.
Not a bad freeze.
That looked better than the other
that
one.
one's not. That one is not as bad.
Because we have such an excellent investigator on our team here, Masa Saidi. I know Masa did reach out earlier to try to get some response. Was surprised that the statement did come while it was still going on, JB, but Masa doing her due diligence, she did reach out to the attorney earlier today to seek any new comment from Mr. Bertolino. We just happened to receive it towards the tail end of that news conference. So give Masa credit for doing her job to check in with their family attorney today.
I think, to be honest, I don't, not to critique Mr. Bertolino, but I'm not sure a lot of attorneys make that statement. I think a lot of attorneys, especially in a possible federal case, are not talking at all. Attorneys don't generally comment during federal cases if that's what this ends up being. It is surprising. It's a great question.
He's
It's
put out a
very
lot of
surprising.
statements.
But is he trying to control the message?
Yeah.
He doesn't really need to control the message yet. His client is a person of interest, not a suspect. But it is odd. I will say we appreciate it because we like to tell both sides of a story, and he gave us that opportunity to tell both sides of the story, at least in the early going.
Give you guys one more moment here. I have a response here from Nicole Schmidt, from the mom, and I just want to make sure that we have this here.
Cole Schmidt, of course, and as you type, we'll just bring it up. Justin pointed out, came forward for the first time on the 13th of September, 2 days after her daughter's disappearance was officially a missing persons case. Nicole Schmidt has also told us the last time she got a text from her daughter, it was an odd text. It was on the 27th of August. She talked to her on the 25th, correct? Is that when she
The
talked to her?
25th was the last call.
So
The
she
27th
Or
was
did she talk to her on the, did Nicole talk to her
on
on
the
the 23rd?
25th.
Okay.
And then
the
the
dad
tech-
talked on the
21st.
21st.
First.
Okay. So
21st.
anyway, so we know that's what we know about Nicole Schmidt. She has not seen her daughter since July
There's
something
the news
other.
conference right there
And,
you're talking about on the
right,
13th.
that's on the 13th where she was tearful and looking for help. That just didn't come fast enough.
So here's and that's why I've been just a little distracted. Apologies here. The Nicole Schmidt, Gabby's mom, just shooting me a text here, and again, the family letting me know that this wasn't news to them. They were given advance notice that this was in fact the cause of death as determined by Dr. Brent Blue, the coroner there in Teton County, and the response here from Gabby's mom, from Nicole Schmidt, and she's responding here specifically to Stephen Bertolino, the attorney for Brian Laundrie here. And I want to make sure that I have this right. It is 6 words, and it reads as follows: "His words are garbage. Keep talking." His words are garbage. Keep talking. And
6 words that say a lot as far as of a way a parent would feel at this point, right? Especially if they knew for a while. I don't care how long you know. If you know that's how your child died, I don't care how long you knew it. You're not getting over it. There's no closure for that. That is that's just a horrible thing to imagine. And I think our hearts go out to that family.
Let's do this here. Let's do this here one more time. And I'll make sure that I have this here up on my screen from 8 on Your Side, investigator Masa Saidi, who again got this statement here. I'm going to read the statement. This is from Stephen Bertolino, Laundrie family attorney here. And it read as follows. It came in at 2:49 as we were continuing to listen in to the press conference there from Dr. Brent Blue of the Teton County Medical Examiner's Office. Gabby Petito's death at such a young age is a tragedy. While Brian Laundrie is currently charged with the unauthorized use of a debit card belonging to Gabby, Brian is only considered a person of interest in relation to Gabby Petito's demise. At this time, Brian is still missing, and when he is located, we will address the pending fraud charge against him. And quote here from Stephen Bertolino, and then to which, and I'll give you at around 3:34 Eastern time here, so less than an hour later, Nicole Schmidt, Gabby's mom, sending me, and I confirmed that I was able to pass this along to our viewers here, and she says, "You can quote me on this. His words are garbage. Keep talking." And the keep talking part about this is almost as if just keep talking. Just keep,
well, I think,
right? I mean,
and when you reread that statement, I guess now that I hear it for the 4th or 5th time, there's some definite spin in there that would frustrate any mother, I think. She believes that Brian is more than a person of interest, I'm sure. And he's goes out of his way to say something we already know. Yes. He's basically saying he's just wanted for credit card fraud right now. That's all.
Keep talking is almost the way it almost reads to me, in that Stephen Bertolino has just continuously put out statement after statement after statement, and then had to issue the correction in the one case as far as the timeline as to when Brian actually did go missing. So keep talking to me is just keep talking. But again, the first 4 words of that statement, his words are garbage, in the words of Nicole Schmidt, Gabby's mom.
Just one other thing for viewers joining us now. I know a lot of people ask the question about where is Gabby Petito's body at this point, now that the autopsy has been completed. JB, from my notes from earlier, Dr. Brent Blue said the remains have been returned to the mortuary, and they are working with her family on returning her home. And we know that was something that was so important to these parents when they made those emotional pleas at first, is please help bring our daughter home. Now that the medical examination has been completed, the coroner did say they are working, the mortuary is working with the family to return her body. I presumably believe back to New York, JB, but that is something that we know they had that powerful memorial service attended by hundreds on Long Island, and now that the medical examination is over, no parent should have to ever get ready to bury a child like this, especially under these circumstances. But that the autopsy is complete, Gabby will be able to come home. Not how anyone would have wanted in this situation, but at least some closure there to bring this young woman back to her family.
Let's get to some other comments that are coming in here. Again, JB Buno, Walt Buteau, Justin Checker here with you. We'll probably try to do another 10 or so minutes, maybe a little bit more here. But again, one more time here, Lauren's comment. Walt, did you find it little? I mean, for Bertolino might be releasing that statement during the presser just to get on top of how quickly, of course, news breaks these days. I mean, before you know it, everybody is talking about it, and he's just trying to get a response out there as quickly as possible. Does that add up to you as far as what you think?
Yeah, and because like I mentioned, going into the news conference, this was a Zoom news conference from the coroner. You had reporters here in Florida watching, reporters in New York, out west in Wyoming, in Salt Lake City, and national outlets. You had a lot of people, a lot of interest in this news conference, and really really have been 5 key news conferences, I think, in this investigation. The first was that 13th when Nicole Schmidt and the stepfather came out, made the emotional plea. Then you had the press conference with Joseph Potito and the Northport Police Department, where they made that thing where the chief said, we know where he is. The next day he's missing. Then you had the FBI when the agent came out to say these are likely her remains, and he was visibly emotional about this horrific discovery.
Unique for an FBI.
Then the
agent to
fourth
be that
big
way.
day was the day the family came out to announce the Gabby Petito Foundation. You had their 2 sets of parents there standing in unison with their attorney announcing the foundation, and then the 5th being today. So to me, those are the 5 dates where we've had public news conferences to hear from the key players in this case. We talked about Stephen Bertolino canceled the one day he wanted to do a news conference when they ruled her death a homicide, but he's been putting out statements pretty much, he's been responsive, JB.
This statement does his client absolutely, I just no good whatsoever.
And
it's
again,
great for us. We get to tell his side, but it's spin and again, I don't know. It's unique in a case like this. I think most attorneys would not say a thing.
And I was surprised the statement acknowledges the debit card is hers, which the family had told
Be a
Dr.
slip up on his part, but I think the assumption was there. We just don't report assumptions. I've been asked, come on, Walt, that's got to be hers. Who's
Well, now
else
we
would
can
it be?
source
Well,
it to the attorneys for both
the attorney,
sides.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Let's get to some more questions and comments here, folks. JB Buno, Walt Buteau, Justin Checker. All right, Beth here. Hashtag JB, hashtag Walt. When was the FBI made aware of the autopsy report? Today with the rest of us? Will the cause of death give them enough to charge him now? So let's take these one at a time here for Beth. We don't know when the FBI was made aware of the results of the autopsy report. And today with the rest of us, will the cause of death give them enough to charge him now? What do you guys think on?
I suspect they've known the cause of death before we did. I think the parents say they knew, which I think is kind, if you will. If maybe I guess that's the right word, to give the parents a heads up about that so that they can deal with it. Although this is just the worst thing for a parent to imagine. As a parent, I can't imagine it. And again, well, as far as enough to charge him, you have to be able to charge someone, I should say. You have to be able to, have the evidence where a judge is going to say, okay, we believe it. You want that evidence, and I think in a best case scenario, want physical evidence. What physical evidence is going to connect someone to a strangulation?
Again, mentioned that they did say DNA was turned over. Again, we know
a little difficult with DNA, I think, in this case, only because
they were in so much contact together, living out of the van together. But if there's certain DNA on certain markings where that could help, and we'll have to, and DNA can't process that overnight.
And do they need to charge him yet? I'm not sure that some sort of a murder charge of someone does that change anything as far as resources? I think right now he's a fugitive from a federal crime. I think the resources are out there. I don't think they're holding back on resources because he's not charged, and I think they'll charge him when they believe they have a case.
We've seen how much manpower they put into the search of the reserve, where the family says he went off on that Tuesday, now Monday.
Right.
And again, his like you said, not everyone will recognize who this guy is, but this story has really captivated the country, and that most people,
the country, the world,
and not just on our traditional mediums. We talk about the social media side of it, the Instagram,
it's amazing,
TikTok, obviously us, here sharing this with you on Facebook and YouTube. So his face is out there for people who are news junkies and those who become, really, want to see closure and justice for Gabby. People know who this couple was.
Tara Beckwith, #KJB, is the coroner allowed to release more information about the autopsy to the family versus the media and the public? As I understand it now, this is actually a very good question from Tara.
That's a good question.
And as I understand it, the answer to that is no. As I understand it, that the family would be given the same amount of information that the public, but they were given the courtesy, of course, and it is a common courtesy with autopsies and of course with stories of this magnitude for the family to find out this information first rather than learn it from the media and learn it from an official capacity such as a press conference.
To give them time to
process it.
To process it. It's an impossible thing to process. But I don't, again, the key word there I see is allowed. I would say allowed. No. I would say, does it happen? I would say it might happen. We have no idea whether it happened here.
We talked about, we were a little bit surprised, guys, that the coroner did this news conference, but with all the attention, imagine all the daily requests and phone calls that Dr. Blue's office had been receiving. I think he wanted to come out, tell us what he could. As we know through public records, we can find out the cause and manner of death. This obviously a little different because it's so high profile in a national case. I feel like he wanted to put to bed the just daily inquiries from reporters, local, national, and that's why he did the news conference today. That's my hunch as to why he came out and did this with media from across the country tuning in on Zoom.
Tara, thanks a lot for your question and your comment here. Again, JB Buno, Walt Buteau, Justin Schecker here with you live, everybody on WFLA Now. The coroner saying that Gabby Petito died of strangulation. We're going to take some more comments and questions here in just a moment here. We'll try to go rapid fire through the queue here in just a moment. But Walt, Justin, I want to bring you guys up here on screen. Where does this go now? What is next here in this case?
The search continues for Brian Laundrie. He remains a wanted fugitive for the debit card fraud. Again, now confirmed, or the attorneys for her family and his family say it was indeed her credit card. We know the FBI still seeking tips information. We've honed in this timeline that the coroner says he believes the body was out there for 3 to 4 weeks before when she was found on September 19th. Walt and I, we're really honed in on the 27th to the 30th being those 3 dates the FBI was focused on. So again, it's where is Brian? Where will, if he is on the run, where is that trip up that he will be spotted or seen or found? And we will stay on top of this and continue to report the facts and where they lead us. And the search continues for the prime person of interest, the boyfriend, fiance who went out on a picturesque cross-country road trip with this young woman. He returned home. She did not. And now it's a national investigation to try to find out where is Brian Laundrie.
I think we're going to be able to show you in the next few days and uncover, depending on filings or documents we may get or statements. Just keep in mind, there's a lot more going on than we are going to know about. The FBI is looking in places we don't know about and running down leads they're not going to tell us about. And I'm not saying that with spite at all. I understand the process. Their job is not necessarily, their job is not to inform us. Their job is to build a case, and we believe that's what they're doing. So we will only see a portion of that in the days to come. Now on the 12th, is it the 12th? The 12th
October 12th.
October.
And tomorrow's one day since the family says they last saw him.
So she's been now a missing person for a month. She has been dead for even longer than that. And I think that it's just a matter of time before they are able to track down Brian Laundrie. Although, as I say that, Whitey Bulger comes to mind and other fugitives come to mind. You just never know. But you do believe they're looking, and keep in mind, we're tapping, many of us are tapping into the same resources every single day to try to bring you in accurate information as quickly as possible.
All right, folks. Seeing some folks here asking about possible activity at the house, the Laundrie house here. We do have a crew here at the Justin, do me a favor. I just shot a text over to our other colleague Justin. Would you just shoot a text over to Allison Henning and see if we can find out any activity at the house? The comment section just lit up. JB, is there activity at the house? Is there activity at the house? We did have a live feed from outside of the Laundrie house earlier. If we do have that live feed to bring you bringing you here on WFLA Now. Tap the touch
She may
screen.
be. I know she was covering the. We talked about the memorial being taken down, so she could be actually live on the air right now. JB,
I can confirm that she is not live on the air at the moment.
not at the
Looking
moment.
here at our feeds.
Okay.
But
it did look quiet earlier, about an hour ago when we had Justin Rogers' picture of the house. We know things have calmed down over the last few weeks. Not as many protesters out there in front. So as of a little bit earlier, it looked fairly quiet outside the Laundry household in Northport.
yeah, so Kenzie Moore, #KJB, #KWalt, #KJustin. Is it true that the FBI is back the Laundry House? I just saw this could have been one comment that just snowballed into a lot of comments, and then of course it's on YouTube where they fly in, and Facebook as they fly in, that people are then believing this to be true. Let's talk to the reporters that are actually there, and we'll find out here momentarily here, folks. We'll get to some more of your hashtag hey JB, #KWalt, #Hey Justin comments. Do either of you guys need to hop off stream here?
No, I'm all right.
Okay. I'm just checking in. This is an interesting question. Julian Carlismo, #HeyJB. Why hasn't Bertolino showed his face or done an in-person presser? And let's not forget that in September, there was a press conference that was scheduled by Stephen Bertolino, and then it was canceled. That they were going to do the presser, and then it was canceled. And so we have not yet seen a public appearance from Stephen Bertolino, even though he is one of the most vocal people in this story, communicating through text messages to members of the media and to.
He's basically been a spokesperson for the Laundries, because we haven't heard from the Laundries either, other than Cassie. But I just like to point out, he doesn't have to show his face. He doesn't have to do anything.
I just got an update from Justin Rogers, our photojournalist there at the house. So, all right. So to everybody like Kenzie here asking, is there FBI at the house? There's police now on the block. And I'll read this here from Justin. Northport police are outside, but they're told it's unrelated from what we're gathering from them. They were going to neighbors' houses there on the block. So Northport police are there on the block, but right now paying attention to the neighbors' houses here. And they might be not sure if they're checking in with residents there, or if there's a particular certain reason for their visit to neighbors there on the street. But
interesting.
But not FBI. So that is something that we can pass along here. No FBI or unmarked vehicles that could be FBI have pulled up to the Bryan Laundrie home in Northport. And that would have been something.
Yeah.
Can you imagine and again, we don't know when's the FBI going to make their next visit, if they are going to make another visit to the Laundrie home.
They won't tell us.
They're never going to telegraph that to the world, but no. And people who are speculating here in the comment section, there is no unmarked vehicle, no possible FBI, no one, even the police that are there haven't approached the Laundrie home itself. They're going to neighbors' homes and focusing their attention on neighbors' homes there on the street there in Northport. All right, here, folks. Looking for some more #KJB questions and comments here in our queue. And I think that we're going to start to wrap up here, everybody on WFLA Now. I'll bring up this comment here from Gabby Reynolds here really quickly. #KJB, #KJustin. Not a question, but I want to commend the parents of Gabby. All 4 of them have been completely stoic and advocates for domestic violence. Gosh bless them and their angel. Not only, they've launched the Gabby Petito Foundation. I want to talk about the Gabby Petito Foundation for just a second, because people have been asking me, what is that about? So the Gabby Petito Foundation is going to help the families of missing persons, and there will be additional causes that they are going to dedicate that particular foundation towards in the future. But right now, that's really the mission statement. There's of course been details shared online from all of us and others. So if you want more details on the Gabby Petito Foundation, just go to GabbyPetitoFoundation.org. Let's go around the horn here. Walt, let's start with you here as we wrap up here on WFLA Now. Your thoughts here on this terrible news that we get today, as far as Gabby Petito dying of strangulation, as far as how it impacts now how we move forward.
Obviously it lets us know something that I believe the FBI more than likely already suspected, and we're already trying to build a case toward. And I think it's heartbreaking. Of all the possibilities, it seems like perhaps one of the worst ways that somebody's life could come to an end. If it is domestic violence, I would say that's especially true, because it takes, I remember from a case I covered, for I think it's 4 to 5 minutes to strangle somebody. That's a long time. That's a long, long time. And the victim is left, is alive during part of that time. And it's that, and you just go, you know, hearts and prayers go out to the family and friends. And I think from here on out, it's a matter of, you know, the end. We now have most of the pieces of this puzzle. We're missing one, right? We are missing one important piece, a suspect, and that's going to happen fast. But as Justin reflected on all the news conferences, I think it was a good point, 4 to 5. I would put today's up as perhaps the most startling, maybe tied with what the FBI told us when we found out it was a homicide. But cause of death is it's very, very sad. The whole case is sad. We see her pictures. We know somebody like that. We may have a little sister like that, a daughter, a friend. And I think that's why this case has just sort of brought so many people into watching it. And meanwhile, the search for Brian Laundrie continues.
And just to jump off that, really how fast moving this has all been. From September 11th, a little over a month ago, is when this young woman was reported missing. Right. I think back to what Nicole Schmidt had said, that emotional news conference, that the detective who took on the missing person report was her angel. And she was very emotional, thanking that New York detective. And to go from 8 days later to finding her body in the last 3-4 weeks of investigation to determine this was, like you said, just a horrific manner of death, a strangulation, a beautiful young woman like that. Like you said, we all see her like a younger sister or a daughter or a friend, someone we knew, just, you know, so much free spirit, lively, and joy in her life. And to be killed that way is just absolutely horrific. I think what JB brought up, I think is important, that the family was notified about this cause of death before today. They'd have to find out with the rest of us. I think that is very, very important. And the other thing I mentioned earlier, now that the medical investigation is now being wrapped up, that Gabby can finally go home to her family, and they're going to work out those details. And again, we saw that emotional memorial service, and can only imagine whether the funeral will be private or not, but just, you know, that Joseph Potito wanted his daughter to come home, not like this. And I go back to, I mentioned this a few times, when I interviewed him, he said to me, he's going to believe she's out there off the grid, lost without her phone, until he is told otherwise. And here we are about 4 weeks later, the coroner revealing that his beautiful daughter was sadly strangled to death.
Difficult news, I'm sure, for a lot of folks to digest. Everybody give a follow on social media to 8 on Your Side. Senior investigator Walt Potito, of course, has been following this story over the last month. Justin Checker, of course, of WFLA News Channel 8 here in Tampa. We're all part of the WFLA News Channel 8 team, the family here, the 8 on Your Side family here. And it's great to have, of course, Justin Wall. We had Masa, one of our other 8 on Your Side investigators, here live with us on stream a little bit earlier on. Fellas, I'd like to just thank you for helping out today on WFLA Now.
And thank you, JB.
Thanks, JB.
And keep up the great work. Yeah, you've really done a lot, bring attention to this story, and a lot of people appreciate it.
All right, guys, give Justin and Walt a follow on social media and catch them tonight on your NBC station, 8 on Your Side here in Tampa Bay. As we begin to wrap up here on WFLA Now, difficult news. I'm sure it was most difficult of all for Gabby's mom, Nicole Schmidt, for Gabby's father, Joe Potito, the stepmother Tara Potito, and also, of course, Jim Schmidt, the step parents as well. They're very much a 4 co-parent unit as far as how they raised Gabby, and I would imagine that it was extremely difficult news for all of them. And again, Nicole shooting me a text here and passing along the response to Stephen Bertolino's statement, saying his words are garbage, keep talking. This is a family that wants justice, a family that wants there to be justice for their daughter, Gabby Petito. So we're going to continue, of course, to stay on this story. We're concluding our WFLA Now live stream, but that doesn't mean that the coverage ends here. The coverage really just now, so many people have been commenting at me over the last several days. My goodness, it's been so quiet, so quiet. JB, are there updates? People following Brian Enton so closely from News Nation, our colleague here as far as Next Star Nation, following us, Brian Enton, myself, and Walt, and Justin, and Allison, and Masa, everybody here so closely, just clamoring for any updates, signing up for push alerts for every tweet that goes out. we know that you are, of course, invested in the story and want there to be justice for Gabby. We are going to stay on the story. Our team here, I can speak for our team here, WFLA News Channel 8, committed here to the story, getting you answers, and continuously, of course, staying right there with the facts of the case. And the facts are that the coroner just said in the press conference this afternoon that Gabby Petito, at 22 years old, died of strangulation. And more details, I'm sure, will at the time that they need to be, they will become available. But right now, this is all we have to go by. It's way more than we knew just several hours ago, or really a week or so ago. So the story doesn't end here. Coverage continues here on WFLA.com, the WFLA app. I'm going to take a momentary break here. We've been live on stream now. Let's see here, on stream for about 2 hours and 12 minutes. I'm going to be stepping away here for just a moment, catch my breath, and then I'm going to head over to my WFLA JB Instagram account on WFLA Now. And I've said, apologies, I've said this so
Yeah, rest in peace. Like you said, rest in peace. This is so sad. This man strangled her to death. Well, and with this, I hope bring awareness to other people that's missing, because this is just ridiculous. This is really ridiculous. Oh boy. So we'll just stay tuned, see if more is gonna come out. Basically, we already know how she died and when she died. It's just all about they're gonna catch this man. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Will they catch him or not? I can't even. I don't know. I just know one thing. I hope that his parents will pay, because they know what they know what their son did. Mommy and daddy laid down and had Satan Jr. by the name of Brian Laundrie. They know what their son did. And they sat there and covered it up and went and got him a lawyer. And then when the cops come to the house to question him, he didn't even come to the door to speak to the cops. They just passed the officers a card, call our lawyer. Call a lawyer for what? Unless you up to something, you did something wrong. Strangled her and left her there, and just drove back home like it was nothing. What a shame. Does anybody have anything else they want to share there in the comments? Anything else they want to share? Because I'm about to wrap it up. If it's more of an update, I'll bring it back to you again. Right now, this is it. Thank you for everybody for being here. This was a long one. Almost 2 hours, a long live stream. So wait a second. Anybody else have anything else to say they want to add? And Gabby Petito, you was with a psychopath. Man was insane. And this stuff happens so much. And I just want to say to parents, watch out with your daughters. I mean, with sons too, stuff happened to their sons. But please don't let them leave home, especially girls. Ladies can't be out there like that. You have too many crazy, sicko men, and look what happened. Too many crazy, sicko men. Oh, Jack. Okay, Jack, let me jump on here. Hold a second, everybody. Jack? Is this you, Jack? Jack? I think he just jumped on. Should be him.
Hello?
Oh, yes. Okay. I couldn't see nothing. Make sure I'm not getting caught out here. Hey, Jack, I'm glad that you're on here. You have something to say? I know my Jack does have something to say.
Well, I was just leaving work a little early and doing some more work. Yeah, it's crazy that they're trying to say, well, he's a person of interest, he's a suspect. They don't know which one they want. They don't know if they want to make him a suspect or a person of interest, or they want to make him a nice little Boy Scout. But like you said, mom and dad laid with Satan Jr. Actually, Satan mom and Satan dad laid with and made Satan too.
Yep. Satan the second. That's how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's and so are they saying that she actually died from strangulation, or is that just speculation?
No, they saying it's strangulation. And I guess she was out for let me stop sharing this. Been out for 4 weeks. So I guess they said something, the calculations between, oh my God, go back to my notes, like 27th to the 30th that she must have died of August. Yeah, of August. So how many days off? There was 31 days or 30 days in August?
I believe I think it's 31. September's 30 days.
Okay, so September, he came home the 1st, correct? If I'm correct, they say he came home on the 1st, right?
Alleged, yeah.
Yeah, right. This is what they telling us. So we don't even know. Yeah, you don't even know. Allege. This monster, he strangled her. And you know, Jack, that's very serious with strangulation. That's personal. Because just like the guy said on there, and I've always said is when you shoot somebody, you just shoot them like, oh shit, I shot him. What the heck did I do? Oh my God. You know what I'm saying? When you hit him with a baseball bat on the head, bam, I just knocked him out. But when you strangle a person, you just like, you looking in their eyes like, you're going to die, bitch. You're going to die. I can't stand you. You know what I mean? And you won't stop. You see the person like, and you won't stop. You crazy. That's serious. You know, you had a heated, deep-rooted passion of hate for this person. You've been one. Oh, thank you. Donna Reed Love said the 31 days. Okay, so yeah, so about 2 days. Well, we don't know for sure if he did come home on the 1st, but I guess 2 days of driving, whatever that distance was of the driving, of how far where he was at to his home. It's just crazy. And like they said also to Jack that it might be more to the autopsy, but we won't know everything due to the fact, I guess, you know, for the FBI, they have to keep certain things quiet, you know, to do a case, which I can understand. But we know he strangled her. Thank God she wasn't pregnant. Thank God. It's just a mess. It's just a mess. Jack, you still there? Maybe got me on pause here. Okay. And welcome, Brenda. Hi, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. But what was that, Lisa, my dear, if you still there, what was that drive we said? How long was it? How many hours? If you remember, we had that conversation about the drive. But it's just a mess. But one thing, I just hope that this monster's parents pay for what they did. Because they sat there and if they would have opened up their mouth the day that he walked in that house and said, they were like, yo, well, where's Gabby at? Well, such and such parents. Okay, well, son, just sit down for a second. Let me make you some tea or something. Just relax. We'll be right in the back calling.
Here, have a beer.
Yeah, I'm calling
here. Here's a joint. Here's a joint. Get high. Hey, this has the highest amount of THC. This has 99%. Just take one hit. We're gonna call the police. He's gonna be passed out anyway.
Yep. Because I'm ratting you out. I'm not protecting. I understand, parents, you protect your kids. You know, you love your kids. You're supposed to stand by them. Yes, that's your job as a parent. But let me tell you something. We
don't harbor fugitives.
Oh, I think it was like 14 hours. Yeah. Okay. So probably killed her. He's walking around pacing what he was going to do, how he's going to plan this out. He just got in the car. Oh, but when did I wish I could remember the part they said the credit card. I didn't get the timeline of the credit card. Remember they said he used her credit card at Capital One or something like that? I wish I knew that. So I'm assuming after, of course, it was after that she died, I think. I got to go back and check that out. Filled up the tank and drove back home like nothing. But like I said too, hopefully nobody think I'm bad to say, but I'm just trying to understand why is this young girl out this house so early to move in with some man and her family. She ain't even going away to college with her family. And they said they didn't know nothing. All right, wait. Lisa, my dear, says 11 hours and some minutes. And he just drove her by himself in her van. You monster, you piece of crap, you low life. And the way she was crying in this vehicle when the pulled her by the cops and she was, with the anxiety, ladies and gentlemen, she didn't get that anxiety from him. She had that since a child, something from her childhood that she got the anxiety. And this piece of crap sociopath, psychopath, knew that she had anxiety and he played on it and gaslighted her to the fullest. He was just having fun with her. See, these type of sick people, they meet people, like Gabby and so many others, and they use it as a puppet. It's like a game to them. They just have fun with your mind. It's all manipulation, control. And somewhere I think he might have been planning to kill her. I don't know. He could have been one of those sick people, ladies and gentlemen, that, some people, they have a fantasy like that. They want to kill somebody. It's been one of their dreams. He been wanting to kill somebody, and Gabby was the one. He wanted to know what it was like to strangle somebody to death and suck the life out of them. And Gabby could have been the victim. Could have been the victim. And I bet you that wasn't the first time he put his hands on her neck. No, it wasn't the first time. Nope. Wasn't the first. Come on, baby, move over here. Yep, wasn't the first time. Son of a gun. Yeah, wait a minute. What else? What is it saying here? It's hard. Donna Reed Love says, and B&B said he might have Donna. Yep, probably did. That's why I wish I could find it, but I don't have no time now. But I wish I could find the excuse me. I wish I could find the tape, the coverage of the friend. When the friend had was talking about her best friend, because I think her best friend was worried because her birthday came up, B&B, that her birthday came up and she didn't call her best friend for her birthday, because we call up our besties. Hey, happy birthday. We'd be like 12 o'clock at night. Happy birthday. We'd want to be the first ones. And she didn't hear from her, but she did say that he was verbally and physically abusive. And at times that she would leave and she would stay over her house, because she couldn't take it. So I'm like, parents ain't know none of this stuff. Or you didn't feel comfortable enough to talk to your parents. I'm looking at both parents there. They all up at him like, you ain't call your dad up and say, yo, dad, this man put his hands on me. He go flying out there and him, this man up on the wall. Like, yo, don't you put your hands on my daughter. I don't know. It's just so many questions, so many things. Let me go back to the comments. What it says here. Okay. What you call it? Lisa, my dear, says she was crying really hard. Makes you want to say, what's wrong, sweetie? And he killed her after they separated them both to cool off. Isn't that something, Lisa? All right. What is Art says? Art says something here. Okay. She's so young, 22 of age. My God, she's a baby. Yep. And Art, let's do the math. When she left that home, she was really young, either 18 or 19. I know everybody's probably like, why I keep going there? Because I look at the root of everything. With that girl's anxiety, that came from something from a childhood. It didn't just come from Brian Laundrie. Brian Laundrie just had fun with it by gaslighting her. Okay. Yeah, rest in peace. Okay, my girl BG says something. Oh my gosh, it's so silent. I'm not good without no music here. Okay, BG says, what do y'all think happened from the time they were separated? I think it caused a narcissistic injury. And with narcissistic injury, he went into a rage and he was pissed. He was pissed off. That's what I think would happen. I think that just really set him over the edge. And then she was probably like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It's your fault. You're just another but a goddamn problem, you bitch. Excuse my language. I'm just giving a scenario that started strangling her. Yeah, because it caused a narcissistic rage. Supposed to be cooling down, but he got angry. Like, it's your fault. Because see, these kind of demonic type people, that's what they do. They want to blame shift. They never take blame. They never do. Narcissist, sociopath, psychopath. So they never take blame. It's your fault. You did it. You caused this. Okay? Catch him and bring him to court. I just hope, I hope this man is alive because he needs to go to jail. And the parents too. The parents too. All of them need to go to jail because they knew what the heck was happening. And let this girl, and I know, I don't care what anybody say, but I know that this girl was living with him, living with their parents, and she was being abused at the Laundrie's house. And they seen abuse too. They seen him shouting at her, probably slapping her, telling her she can't do this, can't do that, controlling what you're going to wear, what you're not going to wear, and all these kind of things. They seen it. So when he came home without her, believe me, they wasn't shocked. They wasn't shocked at all. Not at all. I got to put some music on because I can't take this dead silence. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that's just me. Might not be the appropriate music, but yeah. Yep, he knew. This poor girl, and to the others that's out here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to say it a million times. That's just me. This is my channel where I talk about as a parent. Don't let your kids leave the house so quick. I mean, if your kid is a problem and disrespectful, they need to get the hell out. All right. But in other words, if that's not the case, especially ladies, they don't need to be out here moving out. I don't think girls should be leaving the house that dog until they get married. Okay. So a man's putting a ring on the finger. If you know, provide and protect for her, then she should move out. Otherwise, she should keep her ass at home with her parents. Okay. You know, this is ridiculous.
So Donna.
Yes, I'm sorry.
You support a woman who's 35 years old still live with the parents?
Well, that's it.
Because there's a certain limit to this. There's a limit. I said, look, you can stay here, but you know, you get too grown. You know, you gotta have somewhere close by. Put it that way.
All right,
next door.
Jack, you look. All right, let's not don't twist up my words. I'm just saying.
I ain't twisting up the words. I'm just saying. You said that she can leave the parents' house until she gets married, and that could be 35 years old.
Well, it's my fault that she couldn't find a good man at that time, or somebody proposed to her.
You better find her a good man.
Yeah. Well, somebody. Well, look, Jack, you're being difficult. Don't pay him.
I ain't being difficult. I'm being realistic.
You twisted my words.
I ain't twist your words.
I'm just trying to say it. She's a young girl. She needs to stay there. What do she got to go?
Yes. No, I agree with that. But when they start to get 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30, it's time for you to make a decision.
All right. Well, what about your daughter's not a problem? She's helpful at home. She's very respectful. She just don't really want to move out, or she just haven't found nobody. She's scared. Maybe she's scared to live alone. Jack, maybe she's scared to live alone.
Okay, then she can live very close, next door.
Oh, I'm done. I just can't.
It's about, about personal responsibility after a while.
Okay, I understand.
So I will have a little close by, if that came to it.
Oh, you want to come on? Hold a second. I'll put the just click on the link. And do I still have those? Yeah. Click on the link, Lisa. And that's just about it, right? That's it. Yeah, just click on the link. Yeah. Okay. Now, what you saying, Jack? I'm sorry. Go on.
No, I was just saying, I understand that aspect, but it's to a point to where they reaching their adult age. It's about time to, to make a decision. After a while, you can't forever shield them from the realities of what's going on. You can teach them how to avoid those pitfalls.
Well, some people I'm talking about ladies now. Some ladies just not ready to be out there alone. Do you know how many people will stalk you? When you out here dating, and when men know that you live alone and you break up with them, that's it. You're done. They know where you live, where your house at. They know you ain't got no men coming in and out the house.
That's where you teach them how to use a gun, self-defense.
All right, but Jack, not everybody's gun savvy.
Well, they better learn. It ain't like it's illegal to own a firearm.
No,
unless you're a felon.
No, I'm not saying that. But just not everybody. It might not be built that way.
Well, Jack. They better get on the program.
Okay, I'm just look. If I have a daughter, she can stay. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah. Until she get her stuff together and but at the same time she's gonna have to be looking for prospects.
Yeah, Dome. What did Dome says? It says if we have Lisa, my dears, on here. Hey. And Dome says if they do what they're supposed to do, I wouldn't have a problem. This is different. Exactly. Yeah, not everyone is a killer. Everyone is built like that. All right, I'm sorry. Now let's get into Lisa, my
Hello?
dear. Yes,
Donna, can you hear me?
I can hear you clear. Jack, you can hear her clear.
I can hear somewhat.
Okay. Go ahead, Lisa. What would you like to share?
Hello. I had a reason for wanting to come on. I had something to say that I've said while the few people are in here. You need to know that once the men start pacing, you need to start taking this seriously, because they're pacing and they're thinking, what are they going to do? They're trying to figure out, is it worth it for me to go to jail over this BITCH, or is it not worth it for me to give up my life over this BITCH? Or if they want to give up their life, period, because they know they are going to do some time for this. Okay, and I just want ladies and gentlemen, well, I really know about the men. I don't know about the ladies. I know men. Men start pacing when they get really agitated and they thinking about doing something really serious and dangerous that could cost them their life and cost them time and lockup. They weigh, is it worth it or not? If they have things going for themselves, they may not go that route. But if they have nothing going for themselves at all, the chances are they're contemplating whether they're going to try to figure out if they go firearm. That's the one thing. It's a firearm. They start pacing. They go back and forth, and they start like talking to themselves, and you like, who are you talking to? And they contemplating that's your life. They're deciding if they're going to be the one, if they're going to use a firearm, if they're going to strangle you, if they're going to slam you up against the wall, or do some horrendous, unthinkable things to you. And ladies need to take that serious and take it as a warning sign. I don't know. I know some women will fight to the death, but I mean, I don't know if you could make them a dinner to try and calm them down if you want. I know people that say, I'll never cook them a dinner, but I'll try to do anything I can to calm them down, to give me a chance to get up out of there, to get to safety.
Exactly.
Because your life, when men, they start contemplating either their life or your life, and if they make the ultimate decision, it's your life, that means they don't mind doing the time, or they don't mind taking their own life. They may take their life right behind it, and they won't mind, and they don't care. True story. I just wanted to say that, Donna.
You brought some great points. You're right.
And is that Lisa?
Yes. Hi, Jack. How are you?
How's it going, Miss Lisa?
Hey, Jack. I'm okay, Jack.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that point out about, the men pacing and stuff like that. Now, I personally don't know this because I never did it, but you got a point. You do got some men that go around pacing, thinking about weighing out options. Do I want to kill her and go to the booty house, or do I want to kill her, have a murder suicide situation, or do I just leave this whole thing and just move on with my life and keep it moving? Or the fourth option, I'll tell, and I always tell ladies this: always learn how to use a firearm, how to use a knife, just in case he pulls a stunt.
That's some good advice. As women, Jack. As women, Jack, you are so right. As women, we need to take seriously taking some self-defense class. We really need to do that, because it's a level of amp that a man can go that a woman can't go when they get really mad. Now, I'm not going to say there's no women that can't get with a man, because I done seen some women that can get with them when they go 0 to 100 real quick. But men are just, remember being in the military, how when they would have to break us, and for us, it was so easy to break before those men, especially Afro-American men, and they come up in their face with that stuff and they talking crazy. Woo! I just used to love watching it. It used to be, because they used to be telling you better get out my face, you better get that hat out my face, and man, they used to be ready to go toe to toe. But in the military, you gotta be broken. Because we got to learn to work together. If we out here on this battlefield and I gotta protect you. You gotta got my back. I gotta have your back. But men, for some reason, I know when men get real angry and mad, and they get real angry like that, they start pacing. And normally pacing is not good. That means somebody's finna. It's either gonna be your life, his life, or both your lives. He's contemplating taking a life. He's trying to weigh his options. Is it worth it?
You're so correct, Lisa, about that. Yeah, with that pasting, I always said that's a red flag when the guys start doing the pasting and their eyes start getting dark. It's like all of a sudden they
so their eyes turn completely black.
It's like
some of their eyes do seem to change, and that's
it's like
I think it's the dilation. I think it's dilated because of that. The excitement. Yeah, it's dilated. It won't completely cover the iris, but the pupil will begin to dilate more because blood flow is coming in.
That then, and it's really scary. It's kind of demonic looking, Jack. It's demonic looking, and
it's a flight or flight situation. It's actually that's what your eyes do at times. Like a let's say a classroom shooting happens, your eyes begin to dilate, increase because now it's enhancing itself. Enhances itself to where fight or flight. So when he's pacing around, he's determining fight or flight. Is he going to fight and kill this woman, or is he going to leave, take off, and never see her again?
Yeah.
I just personally look when that darkness to me is the devil. That's why I look at it as it's the devil that
I called it too, Donna. I said that was the devil.
That's the devil. You can see it's like
I said Satan just manifested himself right in front of me.
And I can see that in certain people when certain people do like evil things, and you can just tell like a little smirk that they have. It's like a look of the devil just past you. I believe in that stuff. Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah. The demons can jump on you. I mean, just like when in the biblical context, when you had certain people try to pretend to be Paul the Builder by trying to cast out demons. And they went around and try to cast out demons and try to pretend to be the prophets. But then they crossed, but they end up crossing a wrong set of people that actually had some real powerful demons on their backs. And so when they was speaking in tongue, trying to get the demons out, the body responded and says, now I'm gonna jump on you. And so that demons jumped on those out of those people and jumped into those people who were pretend to be apostles, and they had the demons on.
That's true.
And they couldn't get off.
That did happen. Yeah, that's true, Jack. That did happen in the Bible. They sure did. And they said, how come we couldn't cast them out? He said, this only comes out by fasting and praying. You got to know what you're doing in order to get these things out of here, because they ain't nothing to play with.
No, some of them you can't remove. Some of them will be there till you die. That's how powerful some of them are. You know, you got certain of them, you know, that, and I hate to go into the esoteric aspect of it. I hate to do that, but I'm just tapping a little bit to it. The most powerful demons are not the monstery looking ones. The most powerful demons are the more human-like.
Oh boy.
Isn't that creepy?
The more human-like demons are the most powerful.
Very creepy.
They're the most powerful ones.
Oh my goodness. Donna, I'm gonna run to you. You gonna save me, sister? Can you?
Yes.
Hey, you better fire that Glock 45. Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, I need to go, but I need to go. But my daughter's talking about going though. She's been talking about going to get her. Going to get hers though. But I think that's what we need to do, Jack. I think you're right. We need that.
I'm surprised he allowed to let that happen.
Oh, talking about the laundries?
Yeah, I think. What are you saying, Brenda? You saying that you surprised the separation? I'm trying to figure out what she's saying. Brenda's saying, all right, the separation thing doesn't make sense to me. I'm surprised he allowed to let that happen. Oh, you saying when the officers separated them? Because if that's what you mean, he's a sociopath, psychopath. He has to be charming. He has to, look like the good guy. Because if you look at the whole footage of the body cam, he acted like he was such a good guy. He was so cool, and she took all the blame, like she did all the hit, and she set it off, and this was all her fault.
He was the regeneration of Charles Manson.
Ooh, yeah.
Because look how manipulative he was to the police, just like what Ted Bundy was manipulative to the cops. And he was able to escape prison.
Oh yeah, Ted Bundy. Yeah, Ted Bundy was.
Ooh, Bundy was a piece of work. Oh, and he was the ladies' man. He was a cutie too. All the women were for him.
Ted Bundy was cute though. He was cute.
Yeah, he was cute. And Lisa, I was reading a little bit about it. They said that in that courtroom, they had so many women in that courtroom just going gaga off of this man. The man is a serial killer. They listening in the courtroom.
Man, you got women being pen pals to inmates. What you talking about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's not hard for a serial killer to get a wife in jail. He had a don't think about it. He might have never got no women all his life, but let him be a serial killer, go to jail. He'll have wives lined up.
Yeah, because he ain't going nowhere.
Listen, he ain't going nowhere. Oh, when he flew back, what Brenda's talking about. Good point, Brenda.
Yeah,
Good
Ted
point.
Bundy did. Yeah, them women, them women was talking about Ted Bundy's eyes. They would fall in love with that man's ocean blue eyes.
Yeah, and the ocean blue eyes, and then next thing you know, he got a knife between your thighs.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he sure did. He charmed no women. They said that courtroom was packed.
Okay, guys, I gotta go.
All right, Lisa,
Okay.
thank you for jumping up and sharing your thoughts and opinions. Thank you, girl. All righty, hugs and kisses.
All right,
Donna,
Lisa.
love you, Jack. Bye, guys.
Have a good one, Lisa. Be good. Be safe.
Yeah, they said that courtroom was packed with ladies just obsessed over that Ted Bundy. Ain't that a shame? Ladies, come on, y'all. Really.
They up there, they don't mind lay with the devil.
What a shame. Sorry, I can't do the jailbirds. No, sorry. No, just not happening. All right, what did Dome say? Ted looks like he strangled sheep. Yeah, he strangled a bunch of women. And his thing was he'll have sex with them when they was dead. Sicko.
Did he mess with the little girls?
Yeah, he did kill I think maybe 2 little girls or something, 2 kids. Yeah, but he had children too. Oh yeah. He didn't discriminate. He would kill them, and then the thing about it, he had a fiance, pretty woman, and she said he was never violent to her. Nothing. He was sweet as pie, very charming and nice.
That could be that way sometimes. It could be he looks at this woman as, hey, this woman's angelic, and then look at the other one and be like, they're just another notch on the belt, another victim.
Yep, notch in the belt. Oh, it's just so sad.
I mean, that's just like a Klansman being racist towards blacks, but then he's married to a black woman. It makes no sense. It doesn't add up.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It really doesn't. It doesn't at all. So okay, Jack, if you have like a closing thought, you want to say something? But we've been here about over 2 hours. I think I'd but to say everything I had to say. Just have to stay tuned and see if more happens. I'll keep everybody, updated. If anything else, basically, the only time I'll probably talk about it again if they happen to catch him dead or alive, then I will go there. But other words, trying to do all this, no, I won't be going to all this. But I do hope. Well, I'll say Jack. You say if you want to have a closing thought, you can go ahead first, and then I'll say something.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for coming on and supporting Donna Just Being Real, the only place to be. And I appreciate Donna for providing an update on the Gabby Petito case, because I know that's a very big hot button topic. And like I said, hopefully they'll catch the guy, beat him up first, preferably fried, dilate to the side, but we live in the law. And he gets found guilty, and he gets to go to the booty house, and and Cartoon and Big Bubba and the Aaron Brothers will be happy to accommodate him.
Yep. Take care of his ass. Excuse my language. care of him. Get that little.
He gonna be twerking harder than Lil Nas X.
Yes, he will be. He's done. And those parents, I'm just like, I'm mad at Brian Laundrie, but I'm so mad at the parents more, Jack. I just don't know. I can't stand parents like that. When they know your child is doing wrong. Yes, I have kids. Yes, I stand by my kids. I love them with all my heart, but I don't support this bull crap. I don't.
No.
There's no way.
They call killing somebody.
Yes, I will tell. Yes, immediately. I'm not giving.
Yeah, you're a civilian, so they ain't snitching. You're a civilian, so you ain't part of it. You know.
I'm not.
You didn't plot on this.
Yeah, I'm not giving you no lawyer. I'm not putting no money out. I'm not coming to visit you in court. None of that. I will not stand by you. I will pray for you. I will have the pastor come to, want to come to the jailhouse and pray for you, whatever. That's it. I will give you a prayer, but that's all I will do, Jack. I'm done with you. You're a murderer. And it wasn't.
I'll sneak in there and unlock all the inmates out of there and leave mine in there, and I'll set the whole thing on fire. You ain't gonna have a trial. Don't even worry about wasting the taxpayers' dime.
Yeah,
that's what it said.
And that's another thing. What you just said, we're talking about money. I hope they get Brian Laundrie's parents, because all of this searching that they doing, that's costing money and time taken away for searching for other people that's missing. Because there's a lot of people missing. It ain't just good old Gabby.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Oh, sorry. There's a lot of people out here missing. It's not just Gabby, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lot of people missing. And they spend a lot of time looking for this Brian Laundrie when they could be out here looking for somebody else, using resource, time, and money, and they not getting the same treatment. And this is wrong. That's why I hope these parents suffer. Okay. When Jack come back, let him finish his thoughts. I started talking.
I'm back.
Oh, okay. I guess you done with your closing thought? I know I kept saying, I must have said like 3 or 4 times and stuff, but I'll close out. But what it says, Brenda said something here. What you say, Brenda? He will bankrupt bankrupt the parents. Brenda, his parents is gonna spend their retirement money and life in jail. That's what their retirement is going to be, in jail. Brenda, you think I'm doing that for my kids? Hell no. That's right. Nope. That's not where I see my retirement. Nope. It ain't happening. Yeah, they done. This costs a lot of money. They're going to be broke. They're going to have to give up that house. What a shame. Well, they did it to themselves. I don't have no sympathy for the parents. They did it to themselves. All of them.
You're right,
and again, I will repeat, ladies and gentlemen, don't let your kids be so quick to leave out the house, knowing where they moving to, who they going to be with. Be up in those people's business, because it's been 2 years that she was living over there in a distance. I don't know everything. I don't know the whole story. I mean, I don't sit down and talk to. I'm just going by what I'm hearing on the news. And I do know a reporter did kind of ask the Gabby's parents about, the relationship. Hey, Captain, welcome. Captain in the house. I did notice that they did ask, they were trying to ask the parents, like, you didn't know anything? I forgot the exact words what the reporters were saying. And then they kind of, Gabby's father was like, I'm not going to answer that. And then their lawyer jumped in like, we're not going to answer. And I'm like, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the type of person, I go deeper into the roots of everything. I like to go past. When I saw this girl with this anxiety, I said, she did not get anxiety from just Brian Laundrie. She had this from a child. Where did it come from? Then when I started doing the calculation, this girl's 22 years old. She's been living with this man for 2 years. Okay. Her birthday's in March. So she had to leave. She was 18, 19. They was high school sweethearts. They met in high school. I guess when he graduated high school, because sometimes parents graduate high school, they'll move. So I guess they decided to move to Florida, and then they just let her daughter just move out to Florida. And she got a father in the picture, and the father wasn't like, oh, hell no, you're not moving with no man over here. Who's this man? Who's these people? Who are they? Half of the time, a lot of parents won't even let your kids go far away to go to college. They have a problem with that. They be like, no, that's too far. But mommy, daddy, I want to go. No, that's just too far from home, because anything happened, I can't get there immediately. That's the point I'm just trying to say. It's just, and now look at her. Now she's gone, and just ridiculous, that's just, it's just something I wanted to say. All right, so Jack, I know I keep saying I'm gonna hang up. I can stop here and you cut this whole live stream. I think I need to hang up, cut this live stream, and end it. But thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for everybody for hanging in here for a long time and stuff. And if anything else come up, like I said, the next update I will do on this, it'd be basically if they find him dead or alive. And I do like John Walsh, because John Walsh was like he got the questions. John Walsh, you don't play. He's all about it. He don't play. So everybody have themselves a blessed day, a blessed evening. If you're at work, may everything go good at work, and get home safe. Have yourselves a good night, and hug and kiss your family. Hug and kiss your family. And if you have children, I don't care what age, talk to them about dating. Date smart, not thirsty. And be an example of it. Let them know the right type of person to have in your life, how you should be treated and respected, and how you're supposed to treat and respect another person. And if they're not giving you that kind of respect in relationship, it's time to cut them off. That's it. Okay? And once a person puts their hands on you, sorry to tell you, it's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. All right. And that's about it. All right. So, also rest in peace. Okay. Bye-bye. And thank you, Jack, for jumping on. And Lisa, if you're still there, hugs and kisses to you too. And Captain, hugs and kisses. Everybody have themselves a safe and a blessed one. And stay tuned. I have commentary I'm doing Thursday. We're going to be talking about stealthing. Please come. Yeah, it's a new law that came out. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. All righty. Bye. Okay. Oh, I cut it off. Off. Bye.